Just assume this episode is a disaster. Like, there's nothing.
Okay, let's start.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hi, welcome to Gen XYZ. I'm Ricky.
And I'm Beth.
Make sure you hit that subscribe button because we see a lot of people watching, but they're not subscribed. So you're here already, so just go ahead and hit the subscribe. It's free. We would really appreciate it.
Oh my goodness, that's like so much shame for like our viewers. You should give them love, not hate, Ricky. Come
Naming
on.
and shaming. I know who you are. And you're supposed to be my friend. I'm looking at you.
Wow.
So for today, what's on the table?
We are talking about. Oh wait. Okay, wait. Are we doing this? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, just go for it. Let's just go right in.
Yeah, I know. Like we're just riding this episode. Like this is
a free for all episode.
This is a free for all chaos episode. Unplanned. It's just happening. Deal with it. So yeah, but we are talking about TikTok. I don't know why I said it like that.
Why is it TikTok?
TikTok.
King Kong.
TikTok. Yeah, I know, because there's a shitload of things happening, like on like the government front, because like they're trying to ban TikTok from everyone. There's all these government deals, and we're like, what's going on? And like everyone's like, I don't know. Nobody knows. And that's what we're talking about, is like trying to dissect what is happening with all of it. And also why it's important, because it's not just about TikTok. It's about general First Amendment, what's going on with all social platforms, etc. But we're not just talking about all that kind of like boring like government, democracy, free market stuff. We're also talking about dance. Ricky?
What the hell was that? That was fine. That was great. Good energy. So yeah, all that what Beth said, we echo. But I think we need to talk about the genesis of TikTok and all of these different platforms like TikTok, Dub Smash, Triller now, which is a new one. The reason these platforms are popular are because of Black teenagers, and that's just on period. That's just a fact.
Yeah. So like
but we're gonna get into that because basically,
yeah.
It's called appropriation. Is like the nice way of saying it, but we like to just call it stealing. But the whole platform of TikTok, especially the dance part of it, that is like with using music from sort of indie hip hop up and coming SoundCloud rappers, that's all to do with the like American Black teenagers. And Dub Smash basically is the breeding ground. Sounds a little bit weird. I'd say is the think tank. So
do you really want a breeding ground among teenagers? This is not 16 pregnant. Like this is not MTV.
But as long as there's consent, you're using protection, and yeah, you're being safe. But no, basically, Dub Smash was first, right? And it kind of got embraced by Black American youth, and that's where they were the sort of like creative think tank for all of these viral dances that were then taken and used by white creators on TikTok. So like the biggest one being the Renegade dance. That one kind of like blew the lid off of this whole phenomena. The number one TikToker, her name is Charli D'Amelio. I don't know did you know that?
I did not know that.
And so she basically took the Renegade dance. She kind of like whiteified it. She kind of just basically removed all the seasoning, like, and put it out there, and it went viral. And the Black girl who created it, what's her name? Starts with a J. Let me pull it up.
Yeah.
Jalila.
Yeah.
Jalila, she created the Renegade dance and posted it. It got zero traction, but when Charli put it on, it blew up, right? And as it was blowing up, Jalila was just sitting there like, that's my dance. So she tried tagging people, tried commenting on all the other people doing the Renegade dance. And the internet just kind of like shook her off. They were like, you're just thirsty, like stop trying to like take claim for something that's not yours. And it finally took the New York Times doing a story on it for her to finally get her like
get her day, like her like understanding that it's her. I mean, But I mean, like, this is a longer story. I mean, we can just think about, like, say, like, the Lindy Hop or like rock and roll music and like all of Elvis's moves. Like, all of those things came originally from like Black performers that were usurped by white performers who made it popular. Okay, I'm gonna say something kind of racist here, but like white people can be kind of bland when it comes to like, I mean, like there's a reason that white people like, because it's so much better. Like there's so much
Absolutely.
like there's so much like wonder and culture that comes from like Black culture and like and just around the world that is not part of white culture. But because white people are dominant, like we can like kind of steal it and popularize it. But that
Yeah, and it
comes
can
from
do
the
like,
conflict. It came from conflict and pain and that joy from escaping it.
and it can be from like minimal. I need to show you. So Charlie is like the number one TikToker in the world. She has something over 100 and something. I forget what it is. She's got millions and millions of followers. I'm gonna send you. Maybe I can send this to you now. I'm gonna
Oh,
send you the.
recently, yeah.
This is the this is the TikTok dance that went viral. That like
Am I
before
looking at
Renegade.
WhatsApp? Am I looking at WhatsApp or am I looking at?
I'm gonna send it to you on iMessage.
Okay, okay. And by the way, yes, we use multiple like messaging apps because New Century. So,
Because we're cool and with it.
well,
Okay, I just
not
sent it to you.
okay. Wait, okay. I'm looking at WhatsApp, and I think it's actually regardless
No,
of
no, look on
race.
iMessage.
I'm looking. Oh, okay. Sorry.
I'm just trying to point you in the right direction.
Okay, we're watching. Okay, wait. Okay, wait. Okay, wait. I'm listening. Oh, wait. Why's my sound? Okay, wait. There we go.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, maybe a bit cute, but
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. Hip,
what?
hip. Wait,
It was
hand,
so
hand, hip,
basic.
hip. Yeah, hand, hip, hip. Anyway,
That's all it
sorry.
took for a white girl to go viral on TikTok, you know? Now compare that to the Renegade dance, which is so intricate and
Okay,
so, it
wait.
takes
Let's
so much
see.
rhythm and like
Okay,
understanding of
okay.
syncopation.
Send me the other, and then like let's like yeah,
Oh, you want to see like the
yeah, like
original
hand,
Renegade?
hip, hip. Go. I mean,
That's like vanilla, and then let me send you Rocky
are you?
Road. It's very like
Oh
cheerleader
no,
version.
I'm watching it though. Yeah.
Yeah. And she does have like a dance competition background, I believe, so that
Yeah,
explains
yeah,
the
yeah,
sort of
yeah,
like you can see the counts. You can see her
yeah,
counting the moves.
yeah, yeah.
It's very stiff.
Okay, wait. Explain that to me as someone who's not familiar with dance as much as you are.
No, I mean competition like in like cheer dance is like 5, 6, 7, 8.
Hey.
There's no like 1 and up. I don't know. Got. I don't know how to. I don't know how
I
to
know
explain.
exactly what you mean, but like, yeah, I have no idea how to articulate that. Like, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah,
Like
and it
versus
really shows. So like to go
like you're
back to
doing
the
like
whole.
this syncopation, kind of like
Yeah, you're not just on the one, three.
okay, those are my dance move.
There is that whole thing that like usually white people go on the 1 and the 3,
Oh, is that
and
like
black people are on the 2 and the 4.
is that a thing?
That's a thing.
And yeah, I mean,
What?
I think the other thing too is like it's also
Yeah,
beyond
keep going.
race. It's really just the people who are like in charge and people who are not. Like the popular people. Like it's also like the nerds versus like the cheerleaders or however you want to term it. Like it's just people with privilege and people without privilege, and there's a lot of
Yeah,
different versions of that.
the whole premise of Bring It On, like that wasn't a stretch, where the white cheerleader goes and
Yeah,
steals the black school's cheers and all that and their routines.
actually, I did not know that was the premise of it. I've never watched it.
Cut the cameras. Dead ass.
What's wrong with you?
Wait, are we no longer friends? Like, have you like cut off my friendship? So, like, I remember my band, my conductor, my band teacher from like high school. He was like, "You'd be good if you had rhythm."
Oh my God. What was your band director's name? Shout out your band director.
Oh no, let's not do
You don't
that.
want to shout him out? I'm going to shout out mine. Shout out to Mr. Harriman, Whitehall, Yearling High.
No, we played like all these songs from like the 70s, like, you
Oh, and
know, We
Mrs.
Will
Burke as
Rock
well.
You.
Sorry.
Yeah. We Will Rock You. But no, like I was not talented in music. Like my mom forced me into it. And it was like, this is not my gift. Like this is not my gift. Like
I love band. Man, band saved me because I moved to Ohio from Southern California my freshman year in high school. Like I was so like West Coast kid, dropped in the Midwest in like an urban like city kind of like
oh yeah.
lovely school, but not the best
Was that
funded or like
Columbus? Like
in
from
Columbus, yeah,
yeah.
Whitehall.
Oh, from like where in South
From
Carolina?
Orange County, like
Orange
Irvine,
County,
like
Orange
the
County,
best place.
Whitehall.
Yeah, Orange County, California to Whitehall.
Oh
Yeah.
my.
And so it was a mess. And like Whitehall, we almost lost all extracurriculars and like we would have had to go to split sessions while I was there. Like
Yeah,
it was seriously like underfunded and we had
yeah.
issues like while we were
But
anyway.
was
Yeah.
it suburban or urban? Like it was kind of a mix
Well,
in
so
Whitehall.
Whitehall
Yeah,
had its heyday kind of in the 80s. Whitehall was very
yeah,
much like a sprawling suburb because we had
yeah,
DCSC and a big
yeah,
military base with
yeah,
military housing. And
yeah,
it was kind of the place to be for a while. Like the athletics program did great for like
yeah,
throughout the 80s. And we even had a basketball player go to the NBA. That was like early 90s, like
yeah,
91, I think 92.
yeah,
But yeah, and then it kind of just the base closed. Well, the base
yeah,
is still open, but like the military housing, I think
yeah,
those families, those they stopped housing families there, and just the
yeah.
suburbs expanded. You start to get your
There's fancier
J's and your
like yeah.
Dufflins and
So
your
like like
Robinsons.
limited like all of those brands like Victoria's Secrets are all based in Columbus. So we're both from Ohio, and so like Columbus has some
Oh yeah,
wealthier areas, and there's
Columbus
also
is low
like
key
yeah,
lit in certain areas. We got Abercrombie and Fitch. We got Nationwide Insurance
yeah,
headquarters here.
yeah.
Bath and Body Works. Yeah, you named them all.
You have like the Ohio State is like right in the middle. So
The Ohio
the Ohio
State.
State. So you also have like so you have like very like universities. You also have like very like agricultural areas. You have some suburban. You have a lot of suburbia around Columbus, and then you also have urban. Like Ohio was like kind of like the place to test a lot of products because it's kind of America, and like
Yeah, and we're kind of like a food. Like, they say foodie, I think, because they test foods here. I mean, there
yeah,
is a bustling, like growing restaurant scene,
yeah,
but I think like up to this point, foodie meant like testing fast food in
yeah,
Columbus. So like, I think Columbus
yeah.
was the first to get what was like the double double from was it called double double from
I
Kentucky? Was it
oh
Kentucky
wait,
Fried Chicken? It was like
wait,
the
was
chicken breast as
the
the
chicken
bun.
breast like the chicken breast as the bun?
Yeah,
Yeah, no, yeah,
they tested
no.
that in Columbus.
Yeah, yeah, because you can test it out. Because like, is it suburban? Is it urban? Is it like agriculture? I don't know. Like, is it country? Like, you can
Yeah.
test all of those things in Ohio because Ohio is a little bit of all of those. Like,
Also, Wendy's. Columbus is the home to Wendy's. The very first Wendy's was in Columbus.
yeah, okay. So now you know everything about Ohio that you ever needed to know. But okay,
This
wait.
is truly like the random episode because now we're like, why are we on like the board of like tourism for Columbus? Like, why are we promoting Columbus?
But we're trying to like kind of trying to explain like what Whitehall would be, which is like it's
Oh
not
yeah, like
yeah, because it's not quite like Youngstown, which is another like an urban part of Ohio, is like a lot more urban and like there's a lot more crime versus yeah, but there's also but it's surrounded by country. Like
yeah,
Columbus
totally
actually
different
has
place.
suburbs, like Cleveland has suburbs. Like so anyway, so
Yeah,
Ohio
and then you've
has like
got
all these kind
Bexley
of
right.
pockets, yeah.
You've got Bexley right next to Whitehall, which is like
Super fancy.
complete opposite, and they're just like a
Yeah.
mile away from each. Like it's just like boom, right there. But
Yeah,
okay,
so it's
let's
like
get
the
back. So
yeah. Okay, so anyway, okay, wait. So
so let's get back to the TikTok. So
yeah.
where was I going with that? So
I have
basically,
no
we
idea.
compared Charlie versus
Yeah.
Jamie.
Oh
I
yeah,
keep forgetting
the
I keep
one
forgetting her
versus
name.
like like the white clap, which I'm doing right
Delilah,
now.
yes. And so Charlie went viral and started getting all these brand
Yeah.
deals, and she
Yeah.
got invited to like NBA All Star Weekend. She did the Renegade Dance
Yeah.
like during halftime, and it's just like, and she has the audacity to put out videos like teaching this person, I'll teach you how to do the renegade. And it's like, girl, did you even learn the renegade? Because what you're doing is not even what the original is. Um, so again, it's just that whole idea of taking
Yeah.
content from Black creators and it just going viral because it's
Yeah.
from a white perspective. It's just kind of
It's
unfortunate
more
that
it's more
happens.
it's I think like it's also just like kind of more acceptable. I mean, like you go through like all these other different types of dances, like okay, wait, I'm just going back to Elvis, for example. Like he took a lot of music and dance moves that were from an African American community. He just finally made that music white acceptable. Like I mean, because
Yeah.
like yeah, I mean like it's also like who can you sell best? Because it could have also come from like say like a really nerdy, horrible looking like white girl, and she would not have done as well. Like she's an attractive white girl, like so
Oh yeah. Who also has
yeah
that's the other thing. She's got privilege and access to lawyers. So her family owns a business, and her dad was already connected in like the music
yeah
world. Like I think he's part owner of like a sneaker shop somewhere wherever they're from,
yeah
and he kind of already had access to the music industry. So then you know you get her viral, and then you get a whole team of lawyers
yeah
and sort of media experts as part of her team, and that's one of the things that
yeah
uh, Jalea spoke about and her mother. It's that
mm,
she saw her dance going viral, but she didn't know what the next step was. Her mother didn't have
right
access to lawyers. They didn't have the money to like
right
put a team together to the counter the
right
momentum that Charlie was creating from the dance. So there's
yeah.
layers to all of that, you know.
I mean, I think the biggest question is like, do you actually have do you have privilege and access? Like one question is how you look, which is a question of the race part. Like, do you look like you can sell it? And then like two, but it's also the whole question of just privilege and access, which is a larger question. Because like what is white and what's not white? Like Italians weren't white, Irish weren't white. Like there's a lot of like Jewish white or is Jewish not white? Like there's a whole big question of who has privilege and who does not have privilege. And like I mean I think that's also part of like kind of the larger question of why there can be sometimes like really poor white people pushing against shit because they're like, I don't have privilege because I'm a fucking white poor person. Like I'm poor as shit living in a fucking trailer. They also don't have access to like this like privilege, like a privileged like white girl, like who's like who has like lawyer parents. It's a question of money and access, which is often tied to race, but not necessarily.
Yeah, but I mean that's that argument that's always made, but it's beyond by someone of color saying that you white person have privilege even though you're poor. We're not discounting your financial struggles and your invisibility in the system, but
Oh
even with that you still have the ability to benefit from the color of your skin. Like we can't
yeah,
change the color of this, like this is still visible. So that
yeah,
in of itself is a privilege, and that's usually what the counter to that sort of argument is. But for sure,
yeah.
people of all races and backgrounds are struggling in this freaking capitalist system that only supports the 1%. Like
I mean,
that's a whole other struggle and debate.
I
Yeah.
I absolutely agree that like there's definitely just the visual part of it. Like, can you pass or not pass? But it's also that larger question where we're divided against ourselves. Like we're divided against the people who have privilege and people who not, because often people from all these disparate different points of view, different religion, different colors, different countries, we have a united mission, but we're divided because white people, like white rich people are like, hey, white poor people, we're together. We're not. They don't really
Yeah,
give a
and
fucking shit about you. But yeah, I mean, like, anyway, so
that's the thing. Let's
yeah,
not act like that's not intentional either. Like
yeah,
imagine the a wave of change that would occur if like I'm generalizing here, but if
yeah.
like
These are all
if
generalizations.
poor racist white people would just like get over their freaking racism and just come together with everyone, imagine the force that would create to like have systemic
Oh,
change. But
yeah,
that's why, you know, that's why a president like Trump would perpetuate their feelings of racism, because it's like,
Yeah.
as long as I keep them divided, divide and conquer. It's just like, that's like war tactics, like control
Yeah.
tactics 101. Like
Yeah.
divide and conquer and fear.
Oh,
You've got
absolutely.
that's what's the only thing that's holding on to Trump's base. And again, I don't we can speak of
Yeah.
his intelligence, but whether it's conscious or not, but I mean, it is a tactic nonetheless,
Yeah.
and it's working so far. Well, actually, it's not so much
Yeah.
working, but let's not get into politics. This is
Yeah,
not
we're
about
not.
politics.
We said, yeah. You told me not to talk about politics, so I'm
I
trying
know,
not
but
to.
it's like how could he not? It's just like a natural progression, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a larger thing. Like, we don't have like a united fight, kind of a united front for like poor people across, like people who are not privileged. Like the 99%, we don't have one kind of message to unite around. We're struggling to find what our united message is.
I mean, it should be
Okay,
that we're all poor. The system is screwing us over, and we
it should
can't
be, but no one
afford
sold that
poverty.
message. Like, no one sold like the fucking obvious. Okay, so this went way beyond fucking dance, but like, but I mean, like,
We can swing it back around. I mean,
yeah, but I mean, like, I feel like it's also like, let's also think about like high school movies. There's always like the cheerleader and the nerds, right? The cheerleader and the jocks and the nerds. Like they're even trying to divide it. Like, and like if you go back to old school movies, they were all white people. There's also like, I'm a nerd and you're not. Like even trying to divide white privileged people against other white privileged people because you were of different, I don't know, of
yeah, I mean,
interests.
and
like
that's just the battle of the ego. Like ego and identity, it wants to preserve itself. So, if especially as a teenager, if you see something that doesn't lift up or like doesn't
yeah,
justify your sense of what your identity
yeah,
is, then of course you're gonna make it other than, So that's kind of a natural progression of like the ego and the id, and that's all that Freudian stuff, right?
actually, like now that I'm like thinking about it too, like I mean, because that's also kind of like TikTok and like other things, is that like as a teenager, like so like all those like typical teenage movies, they're all going to the same high school. So they obviously probably all have like kind of the same economic background because they're living in the same neighborhood, but they're all like super divided because like one's like someone's of the upper class, which is the like the cheerleaders and the jocks, and someone's of the lower class because they're nerds or like in a chorus. But they are all basically, in a larger scheme of our society, pretty much the same freaking thing.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, there's some truth to that, but if I go back to, actually, I was just talking to my mom about this
Yeah,
like last week. Um,
I hadn't
being
thought about this until now. Yeah, continue.
living in Orange County on a military base,
Mm-hmm.
and going to so that was middle school.
Yeah.
We would have group projects, and I'll never
Mm-hmm.
forget the day for the first time I went to someone else's house for a group project. So
Yeah.
I'm living in military housing, which is very basic. It's the
Yeah.
military, and I had to go to my classmate's house who lives in Orange County,
Yeah.
California. Hello, like Real Housewives of
Yeah.
Orange. Like
Yeah.
there's a whole franchise around
Yeah.
this place. So I remember getting to this mansion of a house and just being like the first time understanding like a wealth gap, because up to that
Mm.
point I had only been exposed to military housing. I'd never seen a house outside of a
Right.
military base. So this is me like 13, 14. And I remember just being like, people live like this? Like, what? How do I get here? It
Yeah.
started like this train of thought. So, yeah, for the most part, I think
Yeah.
it is true that if you're in the same high school, you kind of have a similar background, but sometimes there can be those disparities even within a same school system.
I mean, I think that's why we like high school movies, because it's the disparity isn't too hard to understand versus like refugees versus like it's not too hard. Like as someone who grew up in like a nice safe suburb, it's really hard to understand someone's refugee experience versus like you can kind of understand a lot easier like popular kids versus unpopular kids. But that trains you for the world. You can understand the economic disparity within a community. It's a lot easier to understand than the rest of the world, which is going to be it's going to be a lot more freaking diverse and a lot harder to understand what that is. I mean, I guess that those movies are actually kind of preparing us for that. And actually TikTok is kind of like, because TikTok is kind of the place from what I've read and what I've heard, is like where teenagers can kind of just do what you do. Like you just kind of show off your moves and try to prove yourself, because like you're trying to find yourself in like high school and I guess the rest of our life, like who we are. Like
Yeah, and it is funny that it comes like
and,
majority of the content on TikTok is dance and like
mm-hmm,
these dance challenges, and your ability to do those dances is kind of like determines your popularity. And if you think about like dance history, and like
yeah.
we're gonna go back to like Queen Elizabeth, the first days,
Go
the
for
court,
it.
those like early court dances, honey. If you couldn't do a court dance, if you didn't know how to do the volta, like you were shunned, especially as a man. If you couldn't lead a volta, it was like be gone, like off with his head. He can't do a volta,
Yeah,
or like what were some of the I don't know, I forget. I took
yeah,
dance history way back. The Galliard,
yeah,
was that one of them? I don't know. Anyway,
yeah,
that determined your social status, your ability to do these court
yeah,
dances. And if we compare it now to TikTok, it's kind of the same thing. Like if you can't do the renegade, like are you even a TikToker, or like are you
yeah.
even in the game? And that's kind of an interesting comparison. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that's definitely kind of the idea, is that like in general, like those kind of court dances, like everyone kind of has the same kind of title. They're all like dukes and shit. They all have titles. Like, and then this was like a subtle way to know if you actually belonged or didn't belong. And it's the same
Yeah.
way in high school. Like, do you belong or not belong? Everyone's trying to figure out if they do, as a popularity contest. Like, and there's subtle ways that that is translated and not translated. And
Yeah. I
TikTok is just
love
kind of a international larger extension outside the court, outside the high school.
For sure. I love the
Oh, we made
subtlety.
this shit deep.
But I do love the subtlety of those days, and I love Pride and Prejudice, the movie. Like, there's
I
a scene,
hated that shit. Continue. But
just
continue.
as a sort of
Okay,
fantasy, whatever.
I'm holding it back. I'm
But
listening.
just the scene where she's dancing with Darcy for the first time, and she's trying to suss out his relationship with what's his putz,
Oh yeah,
the
I
guy that
don't.
betrayed him, um,
I don't
Wickham,
care.
Mr. Wickham, Mr. Wickham. Anyway, like as they pass, like she's sort of asking a question, and then as they come back, he's answering it, and it's just weird dance of like trying to get to the T, but without calling it out directly. And yeah, that's just kind of interesting.
I mean, I guess like I really like, I am like one of the few women who like really dislikes Victorian female novels of that sort, of the Austen sort, like because it's all about like, did I like, how did I find myself? How,
Pinch the
like
cheeks. He's coming. Pinch the
the
cheeks.
cheeks. And there's like very subtle things about like, how did you lay out the forks? And I'm like, fuck that. Like I am
There's something
not.
really, yeah. Aside from like the issues with feminism in those kinds of films, there's just something really calming. The fact that like, oh, I showed a piece of my wrist. It's just something really basic and like it's so over the top and dumb that it's kind of like calming to watch. Like that, like Sense and Sensibility. Even like
Wait,
it's
why
so
is it
problematic.
why is it calming to you that like the most subtle action can fuck you in society for like years to come? Because like that's how I read, like that's why I hate them, is because you do the most subtle thing and it fucks you.
That's
And that's why
true.
I
I
hated
mean,
you.
I guess I mean more like Gosford Park kind of stuff, or like
They get murdered in that. Like there's like I don't know. Like, because sometimes like I kind of like, this is why sometimes like I love New York, is because I know exactly what people think about me. They're like, you, and I'm like, okay, I know where I stand. Like, but the Midwest, it's like, yeah, they're like, oh yeah, that's wonderful, and like the South, they're like, God bless you. Like, I don't
it's
quite
so creative
understand.
though. I don't mind it.
I don't like, I don't know. Like, I kind of like to know exactly where I stand, and I don't have to read like 12 levels of like mystery into like the
But it's so clear.
intonation.
It's so clear when it's like that tactful shade. I mean, that's why it's shade because it's I'm telling about
It's tactful, but you have to know the culture to understand the shade. Like, it is
yeah, the nuance
very,
of it.
it's a
That's what's
very
interesting
specific,
about it.
it's a very specific cultural shade that you have to specifically know that culture to understand the specific cultural shade. Like, you can't quite navigate it unless you know that specific culture. Like the way that you like say you in like New York
For the
versus like
record, I feel like you've had
Ohio
like 10
versus South.
F-bombs this episode.
There's a lot of F-bombs. I don't know why I'm swearing so much right now. Versus like
Sailor.
England. I'm wearing a sailor shirt, dude. That's why.
Oh my god.
Anyway, but like maybe but I mean, it's also like some cultures up front. Like in Italy, you may think they hate you, but they really like you. They just yell at you because it's how they say I like you. Like, I mean, like there's cultural differences about how you express your dislike or like if you're upset.
Yeah, but I'm
And
a fan of the
it gets
creative
confusing.
shade. Because, I mean, yeah, if someone in New York says, like, I hate you, then it's like, okay, end of.
Wait, it's just
But
it's not creative. Like you just like
it's,
creative shade.
no, I like the sort of like, oh, that's how you do that? Oh, I wouldn't think to do that way.
Wait,
It's like,
how do
oh,
you?
you wouldn't, bitch? You know, like, I just like the.
Wait, how do you throw shade in Asia?
What,
Well,
how do we get to.
well,
What?
just because like I don't know, like because like I feel like Asia. Okay, wait, because I think it's more interesting in communal societies how people throw shade. Because like in New York or like California, like it's a lot more individual, so you just kind of say what you think. And like communal societies, which I would also put like Midwest, like Sweden, like there's a lot of cultural, but like Asia is like kind of the epitome of communal society. So you can't directly insult someone. So like how do you say, oh, and by the way, I was an anthropology undergrad, so like I used to study that. So like this is not coming out of nowhere. I am particularly interested in like, and because you
I
lived,
mean,
yeah, like how
it's
do you throw
very
shade?
sly. Because actually,
Yeah,
I worked in Japan for almost, well, I worked in Japan for a year, basically.
yeah,
And, oh wait, should I get into this?
yeah, no, like I
All I'll
am
say
super
is,
curious.
whatever, if he knows. So I had a coworker who I think he was threatened by me, and so he would do like subtle things. So I always thought that there was a code. If you're two employees and you have one manager boss, for example,
Yeah,
there's like this unspoken code that like we can talk about things and it
right, yeah,
doesn't leave our office and get to. And I just made that assumption being American and being new to Japan.
yeah,
Well, little did I know that if I had a question about something or like, oh, I wonder why this happens that way, he would like immediately go tell her, oh, Ricky doesn't like the way that this is operating. And it's like,
uh,
I didn't say that. I just had an honest question. And basically, it was just like a list of things that he kept like reporting. And finally, she was just like, "So you don't like the way that I do my job?" Like it was, and I was just like, "No, these are just honest. Like I'm new here. I'm just
right,
asking questions to wrap my head around the procedures in this particular department. But that's not me
uh,
questioning authority or like questioning like a management style." And so that kind of is a cultural difference. Like me just having an open-ended question to start a discussion turns into like
right,
I don't like. But for me, it's just
yeah,
like help me understand why this is done this way, and then I'll keep it pushing. But
right,
for him, he saw that as like being insubordinate to the boss, and so he felt the need to like report it to the
right,
boss. And I think that's a very Japanese maybe way of
yeah,
thinking. Perhaps they're very much into that like answering above and like following the rules. I mean, they had
yeah,
to change the way they train pilots because that one plane crash, they found out that the
yeah,
co-pilot realized
yeah.
the error that the head
Yeah.
pilot was making, but
You're
because of the
talking
hierarchy,
yeah. You're talking about
do you know which flight?
The Malcolm Gladwell book, but I don't remember the exact flight, but I know what you're talking about. There's a cultural
Yeah,
difference,
and he
yeah.
knew that he was pushing down when he should have been pulling up, but
Yeah.
he just sort of, and I guess in the recording they can
Yeah.
hear him say, "What about this?" And the captain's like, "No, it's
Yeah.
not that." And so he just sat there and let the
Yeah.
plane crash when he knew how to like resolve it.
But it's
So
like
that's a
yeah.
crazy, not crazy. I don't want to like diminish like
Yeah.
that culture, but it's just an
Yeah.
interesting that it's so
Right.
in um in the culture to just like follow
Yeah.
authority that yeah the plane just crashed.
But I mean like I feel the same because I feel like I am like that kind of like how you're interpreting Japanese society. Like I often feel like even though I've lived in New York for like 10 years, like I feel that sometimes in Eastern like East Coast culture that like I understate things because I don't know how to say it directly. And it's also partly about being a woman. Like I don't think I can say things without being like being likable. Like I can't quite say them. Like I have to like word my way around it to be like, oh, I'm not really quite sure because if I say I'm sure, I seem like a bitch. So like I had to be like, I think that maybe instead of like,
Yeah,
like
But
instead of like
Beyonce gave the green light for us all to be bitches because she said being nice gets you nowhere. So she realized she had to be a bitch to get things done, and I took that and ran with it as soon as I heard it.
I mean, it's a mixed bag. You have to kind of play your cards on that one, to tell you the truth. Like, I mean, I feel like there are times to like be the bitch, and sometimes like you just have to like play it safe until you know for sure how to play it.
But is that your
Like,
problem if people think you're a bitch? Is that
um,
saying like what other people think of me is none of my business?
oh no, I don't personally it's not necessarily an internal question about that. It's about how I can be most effective. I can't necessarily be effective if people just think I'm a bitch because they'll write everything off that I say. Like
Huh.
sometimes I have to say it some way. Okay, this is weird, but sometimes the most effective way for me to say something is to not say it directly, mattering on what situation I'm in. Like it's partly a cultural thing. Like,
Yeah, and that takes skill and
yeah.
patience and a filter. Like, there's
I mean, this
tactics
is Pride and
to be able
Prejudice
to do
shit.
that.
Like, like, am I laying the fork down this way or that way? Like, I mean, it's just this like very subtle like signal that like you're accepted. Like, it's a very subtle like. I think that's why women love that shit because like we have to interpret these very subtle signals and give them off in a very subtle way. Because if we're too aggressive, like everything that we say will be written off. That's a problem. Like, yeah, you can't, and you become Beyonce, you can be a bitch because you have the money and the power to back it up. But most of us don't. So we have to. You, I mean, I think everybody who doesn't have power understands this. You have to play the part to be heard. You have to like give your like, hey, authority, I respect you. This is what I'm trying to say within your paradigm.
Yeah, I think it's a personal. Well, so I can't really
I
speak
mean,
to
like
that because
there's times,
I'm a
yeah, yeah,
there's
you're
layers
weighing,
to it
yeah, yeah,
because I'm male, but I'm also a minority. So there's yeah, I do have this sort of privilege of being able to be straightforward and straight to the point and speak my mind, but I also have to be cautious of the angry black male narrative that can be created around doing that. But I think I think even for me, I just got over that being
I I think it's
worried
just
about that.
I think it's just the code switch thing. You're code switching. You're just trying to like figure out what environment you're in and like what presentation. Like you may have the same idea, but you have to figure out how to translate that idea to that situation, and
Yeah.
which version of the same idea is going to come off most effectively. And it's not that you're necessarily thinking about all of that in that situation or that you're presenting it in the best way, but you're trying to like,
And they're sort of like unwritten. Well, they're pretty written, and like even just recently, I had to pull the trigger and do like the CC. You know, like when you're emailing with someone, and
oh yes,
you're
the
not
CC
getting
versus
any.
the BCC. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. There's a
you're
whole
not
other
getting
thing.
anywhere with them, and it's like hi. And in this case, I just wasn't getting any response, and I was just
Yeah,
like, "Are you gonna really make me play this game?" And so it was like third email, CC the person above,
yeah,
and then suddenly it's an instant reply, and it's like, well, now you're just justifying the need for me to do this in the future because it's like this is what it takes to like get action, you know?
yeah. Because I think you play your low card first, and so
Yeah,
you have to play the higher card. Um,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, I guess yeah, I think that's the kind of this is also in general like the kind of the larger discussion between like power and shit because like you have to play all these cards if you're not the person in power. I don't think it's fully understood. Like
you
you
gotta
are
play out
every
all the
day.
scenarios. Yeah, you
You
gotta
have to,
see, okay, if I go this way it could end. Yeah, when I'm like communicating with people or have a like I'm envisioning like 3 or 4 different endings depending on like which action
yep.
I take. And yeah, people in power, I think they have the privilege of not even having to play out those scenarios because it, they're in power, so they have no fear of retribution or like making a mistake or
Or
yeah.
I think they still have that, but I don't think they have it on such a minimal level. Like if I just send out one small email about like, hey, like what are like what's the due date on this thing I have to do, or like a very simple request. I'm trying to think of a more simple request, but it's just something like when do you need this by? Like I have to like say it in a very specific way where I'm not challenging their authority. Like I have to lay out like 5 different scenarios just to ask a very simple question about what date do you need this. That's
Exactly.
it.
And there becomes a
Yeah.
point, so you play all those scenarios, and then there becomes a point where it's just self-preservation because you can see where this is leading, where I'm going to be the fall person if this task or this something doesn't get done. And it's like, okay, now I'm taking
Yeah.
action to like preserve my like honor. I don't know why this speaking
My
English,
job. It's my
English,
honor,
my
my
job,
job.
yeah,
But
my
yeah, like,
reputation, you know? And I've had that in the past where I've been the project manager for a thing and I saw it, I could already see the ending where it was going
yeah,
nowhere, but since I was the manager of
yeah,
this group, that it was going to be all on me. So I was like, you know what? Let's take a left turn. I'm going to turn this into a
yeah,
growth experiment for me and learning about,
yeah,
basically, long story short, instead of trying to get the actual task done, I turned it into a task of like exploring why group tasks don't work in this environment,
yeah, yeah,
which involve like sending out surveys and da da da.
yeah,
And so when it came to presenting where we were with our
yeah,
progress, at a big, it was like a
yeah.
yearly
Yeah, I
summit,
remember. Yeah.
instead of presenting where we were, I just presented why.
Oh,
I presented
yeah,
that we're
yeah,
not somewhere, and this is why we're not somewhere
yeah.
because X, Y, and Z. And instead of having us create things, I think you should have us
Mhm.
disseminate things from like an outside source, and that was received pretty well from like the powers that be. Not so well from the people in that group, allegedly.
Yeah.
People talk in the streets.
Yeah, no, I get it. But I mean, like if you challenge something, like if people are attacking it, it's probably good. I think it's more that like everybody has to deal with multiple scenarios. But the question is like the lower you are in the power scale, the like number of questions, the number of like low level questions that like are so stupid that you have to be like, should I go pick up that can be like
Yeah,
a very triggering thing. Like you can't, like any question, any statement could get you fired. Like
yeah.
you have like it's instead of just big statements, everything is this like long emotional intellectual journey
And the
to
most frustrating
like
part is like they don't realize that person or group that you're managing, they don't realize the work you've done, like the filtering and the playing out of scenarios. They don't understand that you've like crossed off so many different ways to approach this, and this was what you've come up with as the best way to approach this, and you present that and they still take it personally or they still like lash out at you or have a, and it's like, do you understand, they think that you're, for your to use your term, they think
yeah,
you're the bitch or they think you're the being the difficult one.
yeah,
It's like, do you understand the work I just did for an hour? Do you know how
yeah,
many times I rewrote this email?
yeah,
Do you know how much like research I did before I even approached this subject with you, and you still feel a way about it? Like,
yeah.
it's so
I,
frustrating.
yeah, like I remember like one of my managers who was a white guy. He was just like, "Do you even think about the emails you sent out?" I'm like, "No, I spent, I spent an hour on like a 2 sentence email because I was so worried about how it would come off."
Absolutely, yeah,
And like the problem is that like they still came off wrong. Like I didn't, because I love this idea from this. I was reading this book Behind Pixar, and like obviously they are super successful people who've created like wonderful films that we all love, super successful. And like one of the founders behind it was like, there's no way that you understand how all the people in a situation where they're coming from. There's just no predictability about like where they're coming from, everything that's happened. Like no one can predict it. And it was really awesome to hear that from someone who's really successful. Like it's not just me. Like no one can predict where everyone is coming into a situation. That's just
yeah.
life. That's just people. There's a lot of things going on. So but yeah, it's just exhausting because you're so trying to like
Yeah.
read all that shit. And
All you can do is come from a place of understanding and try not to uh, directly confront the ego of that person. That's that whole book, how to make friends and
influence
succeed
people.
and
Yeah.
influence people. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
which is
kind
like
of,
the
yeah, yeah.
saddest title ever, but it actually is really good
It actually is a really good book.
advice.
Yeah, okay. Like a whole audience, like read this book. It's
Yes.
amazing. It is the saddest title ever. And you're like, why am I reading this book? Because I feel very sad the fact that I'm just even reading a book called How to Make Friends.
Yeah,
But
get the ebook so you don't have to like be reading it on the train and like
but it's a really
everybody can
good
see the title.
but it's a really good book. It's basically like
Yeah.
everything I wish I had like learned early on in my career. Because
That's
there's
really
so
cool.
much no nonsense stuff, like no people's names, comes from it from their perspective. Like it's no nonsense.
Yeah, protect
Basics.
the ego, protect their ego.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing. Like people, yeah. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Protecting people's ego, especially men. Oh God, you got to protect men's egos. Like anything that you can say that could possibly hurt a man's ego. It's gonna be bad for your career.
Yeah, and I've done that, and I've suffered the wrath of that.
Oh God,
And
no.
it's like, that's not what I meant at all, sir. Can we talk
Yeah,
about it?
no. Men have fragile egos.
Yeah.
Especially powerful men have fragile egos.
Because
Anyway,
the audacity of someone to question,
it's hard to know when you do that. Okay, wait, how do we get like this is not a coherent episode. I think I have
Hey,
good
we said
stuff.
it was a freebie episode, so we
Okay.
started on TikTok, but we ended up in like work communication dynamics.
Okay, let's just
Code
we're relabeling this episode. It's for communications episode.
I need a pee break though, so let's
Okay,
let's take a break and then we'll come back.
Should we just keep on with the work? Okay, quick question while we pee break and think. Keep on the work communication because I think it's going good, or should we loop back?
Yeah, we just yeah.
Okay.
Hold on.
Okay, let's hear it. You understand it? I don't understand Mandarin.
The last person who had this phone number lived in Ohio and her name was Gloria, because people were messaging her being like, "Are you okay?" Like, I felt bad because I was like, I hope Gloria is okay. Obviously, they still thought she had this phone number, and I was like, sorry, this isn't Gloria's phone number anymore. And they were like, oh my God, okay, sorry. And so
we don't know what happened to Gloria.
We don't know what happened to Gloria. Maybe we can do like a cold case.
I think we need a cold case.
We're rebranding as a true crime podcast.
Like what happened to like Gloria? Do you think that people who like do real crime podcasts are sad? Because I heard that somewhere. I don't think so.
Are they sad or bad?
Yeah, no. Like I don't know. Like I heard like some kind of like, I don't know, prejudiced statement that people who do real crime podcasts are sad people. Like I can listen. Yeah, you can listen to them. But if you actually do one, like it's
it can't be like exciting and fun, and it can't be like a mood booster to research how people were murdered. I do think there's another conversation to be had about, again, going back to sort of profiting off of, especially Black women, and it's like you're making money off of talking about the death of this disadvantaged person, or it could even be a white person. Just the idea of like profiting off of talking about something that their family still exists, like they're still hurting from that crime, and like you're kind of doing an entertainment show at the end of the day.
Why do you think white women like crime shows so much? Because I was addicted to ID for a while, investigative discovery, for a while, and it seems that like all like
Junkie. I listen to Crime Junkie sometimes, and there's another one, My Favorite Murder. Like I've listened to those podcasts before.
I don't
know. It's because it's sort of like, as a white woman living in a world that's telling you you're in danger all the time, maybe there's like a weird thing to know what happened to these people so that you know what not to do, for example. Because even at the ending of My Favorite Murder, their catchphrase, their outro is like, stay safe and don't get murdered or something. Like,
okay, serious.
Yeah, like that's how
I said it again. Okay, that's like tick.
But so I'd say the one good thing they do is they do talk about, if you're gonna go on a date, make sure a friend knows who. If it's a first date, they know who it is and where you're going. They do kind of give little steps, like don't let them take you to the second location, because the second location, that means you probably won't be found, like stuff like that. So it is, I guess, helpful. It's like survival tactics, but it's also entertainment. Like there's laughter involved sometimes, and it's like, oh, but
no,
I don't know.
I mean, because I think it's just like I mean, like one partial warning, but it's really just more, I guess, the macabre entertainment value of it.
Yeah, actually, I was talking to a lawyer. We went on a date actually, and
Oh,
I was curious to know because in my profile I have podcasts as like
yeah,
it's basically tennis,
yeah.
podcasts, coffee, or something in that order, like my top
You're
three
into
things.
tennis too? Wait, what?
Yeah, I play tennis.
I didn't know that.
I took lessons for like 3 years while I was touring.
Who are you? Okay, continue.
I'm actually a club. Well, I was a club level player as of last year. If anybody knows like the U.S. tennis like coding system, I was like a 3.5, which
Wait,
professionals are like a 7 and above.
okay.
So it
Oh,
basically means like I can
yeah.
serve and dictate points. Like
Yeah,
I have
okay.
consistent
I feel like
shots and
I feel
everything.
like I should have been impressed, but I just didn't know enough to be impressed. So that's
Anyway,
awesome. So I had no idea. I also feel like how do I not know you so well, Ricky? Like
I mean, it's fine. I won't hold it against you. It's not like something I only recently have been like not publicized, I guess publicizing it on my
yeah,
Instagram because I thought about starting more of like a
yeah,
mindful fitness slash tennis content IG
yeah,
situation, but I'm kind of getting away from it. I have like this love-hate relationship with social media, and right now it's a hate, like because first of all, I'm reading how to break up with your phone. I'm listening actually to it. Have you heard of this book?
no. I have a fine relationship with my phone. We go way back.
Yeah, but this is telling you how to break up with it. She basically goes into the neurology behind your phone and how that interacts with your brain. Yes, the whole dopamine release and how you can be addicted to it. It talks about like how to get away from it. But
Yeah,
so I tried to like use my social media as a way to start to get a following so that I could potentially maybe
yeah,
have a business of giving advice and
yeah,
stuff. But in order to really get traction, you have to please the algorithm, and in order to please the algorithm, you have to put content and you have to engage in other people's content. You have to like, you have to
yeah,
leave comments, you have to DM, da, da, da. And it's like it's so forced for me to do all of that. So I started really strong with like I was doing reels and posting videos and doing
yeah.
stories,
Yeah, you were.
and now I'm just kind of like I just don't like I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
I
Like,
it's not my although I'm sure I mean, this is I don't know
yeah,
however this sounds like
yeah,
I'm sure I come across as like knowing what I'm doing, and I think I do have a good sort of like on-screen persona for doing it. However that sounds, I don't care, but like I know how to work the stories, I know how to like
yeah,
be somewhat entertaining, but it's just not in my nature to do it every single day and like
yeah.
insert
No,
on
no,
my
no.
breakfast and like hey going to the mall like
Oh no, I hate
I've
that shit, man. Like, no,
so yeah
I need a social media intern. Like,
I
that's
even thought
not.
about like deleting my Instagram and my
Oh
Facebook like yeah
no.
because I also watched have you seen I May Destroy You, the
Kind
HBO
of.
show,
Yeah, yeah.
Michaela Cole.
Hmm.
Anyway, there's a whole episode dedicated to social media, and I in no way am to the
Yeah,
extent that she is in that episode. Like she is becoming like an influencer, like with a following, and
yeah,
um, she takes it a little bit to the extreme. But I something resonated with me where there's she deletes it in the end, and sorry, spoiler. It's just a small sub story to
yeah,
the larger story arc of that series. But I felt compelled to delete after that because it's then like it takes the pressure off, right? Like then if I don't have it, then I don't have to worry about
I don't. Yeah, I guess I don't feel the
engaging
pressure.
with it.
I
But
don't
you
feel
don't
the
even really
pressure.
post. You don't post anything. Like your Instagram has 0 posts,
Yeah, I have
right?
zero posts. I'm horrible.
Actually, I was surprised. You posted something like your secret science thing. You posted something
Yeah,
on your Instagram, and I
yeah.
was like, "Oh my God, Beth is on Instagram. What's happening?"
Well, it was just because because it was easy to edit the video, so I did it. So like that's basically it. I had to take the video anyway. So background for everyone. For my niece and nephews, I do like a secret science club every Saturday, and we do different like art and science project. So that week,
Cute.
I lost reception on the roof when we were doing the Mentos Diet Coke thing, which is like a kind of thing. So I had to record it anyway. So I just figured I'd share it. So and it got shared by Mentos. So
Really?
Yeah,
Did you
Mentos.
tag them in it?
Yeah, I tagged like Mentos, like on Twitter. I got
Did
tagged by
you add them?
Mentos on Twitter actually. Not like I didn't. I don't think I
Look
did
at
it
you
on.
playing the game.
Yeah, but I mean, like I do like one video every now and then. Actually, I mainly just complain about like companies on Twitter because I know they'll respond. Like, I mean, like I have a very strategic like Twitter and Instagram game, which is basically if I feel so motivated or I really need to like complain about something, like it's very strategic.
Actually, that's my one and only tweet has been to complain because there
Yeah.
was a course I really wanted to take, but it was closed to athletic trainers. They would only allow physical therapists to take it. And I
Oh,
was so pissed because I was
livid.
like, that's not fair. And also, I thought we had a class action lawsuit against you guys where you couldn't do that anymore. But I digress. So it was like athletic
Yeah,
training
no.
month, and I was like, in honor of athletic training month, I want to call out this
Yeah.
PT who has like great content but won't allow me to take the course. And I was like,
Yeah.
we should be working together, not against. I was being that person.
Yeah, but sometimes like I mean like I specifically do that like because I get a response from like Delta or something. Like it's specifically because I know that they're
Oh
like,
yeah,
oh yeah, like
and people
it's
do that now. Yeah, they
yeah.
complain directly on Twitter, and like usually whoever
That's the
manages
best
that
it's the best
handle.
way to like it's the best way to get response if you have like a big complaint. Like I did that with
Yeah,
my like Spectrum because my internet was out for a while. Like um anyway, so but but it's also like I don't know, because I guess I'm just old. I guess because I'm just like I don't really care to share my every. It's just not in my personality either. I guess to share my
yeah,
everyday because I think I'm boring. It's just like the
yeah.
truth.
I mean,
Like
no,
I'm
I'm not
just like
agreeing.
yeah, but I agree. Like I'm just like I'm boring. Like I don't understand. Like what am I gonna share? Like here's my bread. Like yeah, here, let me show you how I'm a basic bitch. Like what am I gonna do? Like I don't.
Actually, when I was touring, that's when I should have been. I mean, I posted here and there, but honestly, if I really wanted to get a following and really like influence, I should have been posting while I was on tour, like with Michael Jackson tour, for example. I kind of
Yes.
shared things here and there, but there's so much that happened that I kind of just kept to myself, and that's okay, I
I
guess.
mean,
But
like
yeah,
I yeah. I mean, I guess it's like, is it really playing into your career or not playing into your career? Because like I don't know, like because I do journalism. Like I didn't know quite how to balance my voice. Like, how do I have an opinion without having an opinion? Because like anything could screw you. They can go back through your history. Like, and I'm a more of a private person anyway. So like, even though like I'm doing a YouTube series, but like I mean like in general,
yeah,
like
it depends what your end game is. And we've talked about what we would like to happen with this. Technically, we should be pushing more social media
yeah,
if we really wanted to get the traction. We'll figure it out. I was talking to my friend Terrence about this.
yeah.
I was like, you know what? Maybe we should just, even though we have a small following, why don't we just have someone do our social media if we really want? Because neither one of us are going to do it anyway.
Okay,
So,
so which we just learned just now. So
yeah, I mean, but it's facts. Like, we don't
facts.
post.
Like I just yeah, I know.
Because we don't
Like
know what we should post because we're still working out our identity. So full disclosure, that's fine.
yeah.
We have a small audience. We can talk about
Yeah,
this
well, this
outwardly.
episode I think is like I don't think we're going to talk about anything we plan to talk about, and I think that's good
I
and
think that's
fine.
what we need to do. I think we should just start having conversations
Okay,
because
yeah,
that was the
like
whole idea of us starting anyway. We would talk for like 2 or 3 hours on the phone, and then we'd be like, we should have recorded that because that could have been interesting.
so I think that's what I think this was. I think this is the beginning of that. Like I think we're just gonna like. What do you
Yeah,
think, Ricky?
perhaps. Maybe
Like
let us
what?
know in the comments if you like this more free form discussion as opposed to like segments and welcome. First, we're going to talk about this, and then we're going to talk about this. And
Okay,
wait,
it
we're going to
wasn't
break
that
down
bad.
this.
It
I
was
mean, it wasn't
not.
that bad, but it was
It
very
was
like
not that
rehearsed.
bad. Come on, I wrote that, and that's why I'm a little bit more
Yeah,
defensive. But like, okay,
I think
it
we should lean
was.
into the pod. This is giving me more podcast. Like this could easily be. We don't really need the video. I think it's an extra visual, but like
Yeah.
this leans more into like podcast, just discussion as opposed to we're doing a TV show on YouTube. Do 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 do. Roll the credits. Roll the intro. Bum, ba, bum, 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 bum. Welcome. Hi, I'm Ricky. I'm here to talk about this. Sorry, that was a lot. We never did that. That
That was
wasn't.
a lot. That was a lot. Why are you popping? You were doing a lot of popping.
I don't know. This is me like performing for the camera. Even like my Reiki stuff, I'm like, I really should keep that maybe for myself and still develop that for me as opposed to trying to create content around it. Because then, I don't know.
Wait,
Yeah,
what do you mean your Ricky stuff? Like, what you mean Ricky stuff?
Reiki, like I'm
Reiki
essentially
stuff. Oh, I thought you
doing
said Ricky stuff. Oh, it's Reiki stuff. I never put that together till just now.
late.
They're like
Anyone
this.
who's ever known me and that I do Reiki, the first thing they say is Reiki, duh. Like that has to be what you call yourself.
I didn't. Shut up. I just now put it
fine.
together, okay?
It's fine. It's fine. Okay, what are we talking about now?
I don't know. We've been talking for like an hour and a half, actually. Wait, no. Police. So I don't know. Like I have no idea how you're gonna cut this though. Like I apologize for that. Like I mean I had like some TikTok stuff, but I don't really feel like talking about it, truthfully.
So that was the sort of free form, free flow, improv, whatever comes to mind. Let us know in the comments if you were into that. Don't forget to subscribe, like, leave a comment, and turn on the bell notifications so you don't miss future uploads.
And as always, follow us on social media at Gen
Even though we don't
XYZ.
post.
You ruined my promo.
Because I think that's a false call to action because we don't even post anything.
Okay, but they can
yes,
still like.
follow us just as a gesture of solidarity and support. Follow us on Instagram because I mean Facebook's not even.
Okay, let's just. Okay, we don't need to air all of our dirty laundry on YouTube.
Like, just put it out there. Expose ourselves.
We're exposing like here's our laundry. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Please,
And then
as a measure of like just what should happen in this forum, follow us on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook.
okay.
Thank you for watching Gen XYZ. This has been Ricky.
And this is Beth. And wait, before we go, Ricky, what's going on with your sending?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do that anymore. No, let's do, because I didn't get to do it last time. We'll just talk about, there's this great book talks about the properties of water and how you can like influence water with your words and intentions and how we can relate that to ourselves. So we'll talk a bit about that.
Okay. Follow that. Okay.
I don't know. You know what? I'm going to put a true call to action. If you really want more Zending episodes, then leave a comment on this video and ask a question or give me something to work off of because I feel like that's what I want. So I'm not just going to be out here in these streets like just putting out video content with no engagement. So leave a comment, let me know what you want to hear about. And I may or may not upload another segment. How about that? Catch me outside, how about that?
Okay. Okay,
So we agree.
Okay.
So that was the episode. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Give us a wave. Bye. Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
See, if you don't know what that means is really a problem. So I'll send you some clips. But I do have a question / theory about